Hey everybody, I'm Riley.
And I'm Todd, and welcome to this week's episode of Barber Cuts. And so this week is special, not because of the music, but because we're trying something new. So this week we're recording, well, we've always recorded the Zooms, but this week we're going to upload the actual recording to our brand new YouTube channel. So youtube.com and then Barber Cuts Pod. We'll include the link and everything. Um, so however you find channels, that's where we should end up. So look forward
It
to that. Yes, ma'am.
it works in our favor whenever we're doing like the little dances and stuff people can't see. But I also have to remember that I can't like zone out visually now. I have
Yeah.
to stay looking pretty,
Yeah,
as
true.
Mama Pod would say.
True.
I gotta
True.
look presentable at all
Yeah,
times.
true. Got to watch what we're doing now. No, so be on the lookout for that. And now we can actually talk. Oh, and I guess before we get there, one of the other things that we'll do with these videos, just because my audio editing is still learning, my video editing is absolutely zero. So these will be posted as is. So you can see anything, pauses, bloopers, whatever that we end up cutting out of the audio, they will be here for you to poke fun at us on YouTube. So look forward to that. That being said, let's get to the music. This week we are 1967, The Doors, The Doors. So the group is The Doors, the album is The Doors. So we will do our best as we talk about this to make sure and we distinguish as best we can when we're talking about album and when we're talking about group. And if we don't, hopefully context clues will reign supreme. So let's get into it. Riley, what are your least favorite two from the album?
My least favorite two were, oh, one was 20th Century Fox. Um,
Okay.
I just I didn't like it. I don't really have a defense for these. I'm really bad at defending the ones I like didn't like. Um, I just didn't like that it was all about like 20th Century Fox or like a person on 20th Century Fox. It just was kind of like a okay song to me. And then my other least favorite was Backdoor Man. This was another one where I didn't love it, but I just didn't like for some reason it just really brought me out of like the album whenever he's just talking about you men eat your dinner, like your pork and beans and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, what is this? Also, I know they probably didn't mean it like this, but given the context of today, it's never a great thing to hear. The men don't know, but the little girls understand when it's men singing. It's never what you want to hear. And I'm not saying that's what they meant. It's just
Yeah,
very weird to hear in the
true.
middle of the song. Um, no matter the context,
Yeah, I can get that.
it's just off to hear. So it just kind of took me out of it. Those two songs I just would say kind of caught me off guard and didn't let me feel as fully immersed in the album.
Yeah, so Backdoor Man, context on that, it's a cover song that was originally recorded in 1960. So the Doors remade it in 67 for this album. And Backdoor Man was about a man having an affair with a married woman and needing to use the back door to get away before her husband comes home. So that's the context of Backdoor Man.
Doesn't make it better.
No, but at least some of that it makes sense why some of those lyrics are the way they are.
Yeah.
Not that I agree with what is going on, but that's
We do not support affairs.
that's what the lyrics mean. So that one was a cover. So my least favorite two are so one of them was End of the Night, and I will say much the same thing you did. I got no real reason other than just to put one here. This is one, and there was two or three like this that I wouldn't I wouldn't just go out to listen to any of those. And of those two or three, this was my least favorite of that bunch. So like, okay. And then my least favorite was the Crystal Ship. Um, and the only note I had on it was it almost sounded like a show tune to me.
Yeah,
Um,
that one was like my third, and that was my reason too. Like even as
okay.
someone who likes show tunes,
Yeah.
it was
And
like, oh,
and I
okay.
did that, so I'm glad you said that because I was like, this sounds like a show tune. This may be one of Riley's favorites.
No, I like, in my defense, I like very particular show tunes. For
Yeah,
context, I very much enjoy Hamilton and like more new edge musicals rather than your like classic show tunes. And even then, I don't listen to them much anymore.
yeah.
But I agree with you.
So those are my least favorite two. Riley, what about favorites?
Um, one of my favorites was I Looked at You. Uh, just an entertaining song. It was a fairly short song, which most of them were, except for like two songs that ended up taking up the bulk of their album time. It may have been more than two, but I just noticed two going on for a long time.
Yeah,
Um, but I just liked how it sounded. It was a little bit more of like that rocky feeling that they're kind of known for. And I just liked how that sounded. My favorite one was one of the long ones. It was The End, which it's always a bold choice to make your last song having something to do with it saying the end or anything like that. But this one worked well, in my opinion. It's almost 12 minutes long. However, it changes a lot throughout the song, so it doesn't get boring. I wouldn't say there's like bits of it singing and then instrumental, and the instrumental is what kind of changes the vibe, and then it's singing again, instrumental, and it just kind of does that over and over. And there's
not,
each
not,
section
not to
almost feels
mention
like
his spoken word in the middle.
yes. Um, oh, I forgot that we're on video now. But like you're getting to see how much I fidget whenever I talk.
Yeah.
Um,
Or leave. I thought you were leaving. Like, where is she going?
whoops. Um, no, I I think that each little section feels like its own little song. Obviously, the part I would take out is the part where it just repeats the F word over and over again. That one was a lot to take in. But I mean, he kind of had to go from that to like the kill, like repeating the kill. It kind of worked in its own little weird way. Like the anger
Yeah.
almost was building in that part. And then to just kind of slow back down to this is the end, beautiful friend. Um, and it's just a good old creepy song that kind of stays feeling a little iffy, and it talks about not the end of the album, but the end, like death, being killed, and all of that. And I thought it was just interesting to kind of read through those lyrics and like listen through and hear how he or how the singer or the Doors um, put to music each part of what seems to be a murder.
Yeah. And so, just this wasn't one of my favorites, but I really do like it. And I agree, it's a great ending song for this album. So if you do if you've never listened to this album all the way through, but you've heard of, the big ones of, Break On Through and Light My Fire are the two big ones. The end doesn't doesn't make as much sense unless you listen to the album. If you
Yeah.
listen to the album, it's a great ending song. And it started as a breakup song from Jim Morrison to his girlfriend. Um,
Mm.
and it grew in length and meaning through various live shows to the almost 12 minutes that you get now. And it, the lyrics there are to where it it can be for the end of anything, and the I'll add to your my only friend the end. I mean, that's such a painful but simple lyric. And
They
one of
have a
the
lot of those in this song.
yeah, yeah, and
Specifically the song. It's what kind of made me of like the just really short but very emotional, like strong, small lyrics.
yeah.
So,
And so a lot of people know this. You know, there's a 1979 Francis Ford Coppola movie called Apocalypse Now. Um, have you ever seen it? I wouldn't think so.
no,
Okay. So,
no.
but this is actually the opening song for that movie titled The End. And so it's said that Coppola's was like, wouldn't it be funny if we started the movie with a song called The End? Um, and if that's true, and then they made and if he took the movie and put it to some of that, the opening 7, 8 minutes of Apocalypse Now is, and you can go online and look this up. It is some of the best cinema there is.
Mm,
Just because the movie and the song go so well together in that moment. And, for instance, his lyrics come in, it opens to, you see the a jungle, helicopter occasionally flying by. And when his opening lyric, "This is the end," comes in, the jungle just blows up like a firebomb has hit it. And so, like, again, this is the end. Anything in that jungle, gone. The end, dead on fire. Um, and then there's also this internal um, on camera struggle of Martin Sheen is the main character. And he's having this struggle in a hotel room. And so you can feel it with the music. And so it's just a masterful opening scene with masterful music. And as you listen to this, you can see visually what the Doors are doing um, through the audio, and it's really good.
yeah. It's interesting that you said that like they kind of made it as they were going, like it started as something and was building, and you said that they made it like as they performed it almost, like
Yeah,
the additional parts.
it looks
You
that
can
way.
tell which parts you can tell which parts like were new and which parts
Yeah,
like when parts came in and which parts go together and which parts kind of are a new part of the story and a new branch and um yeah, it's just it's a very interesting, very intricate song.
yeah. So I'm a fan of the entire movie. It's dark. I'll leave it at that, but very, very well done. But just to play on this, you can go watch the first 7, 8 minutes, just to see how it opens
Yeah.
and to with this song, and it's really good. That's you probably find that on YouTube or
After watching
your
this.
streaming service. Yes, after watching this.
So
So,
those from favorites.
all right. So for me, one of mine was Soul Kitchen. And it was between this and Break On Through. And again, this is an older album. And so one of the ones that I um grew up listening to, just as you probably gathered from listening to our podcast, the classic rock is where I did most of mine. And so I listened to the Doors. And so radio, you heard Break On Through, Light My Fire. So I I do like those. But want to include something a little different. And so Soul Kitchen, it's about a restaurant in Venice Beach that Jim Morrison loved to go to and would hang out at night and would more than likely oftentimes get kicked out because it was closing. And so you can see that in the chorus, the opening few lines. Well, the clock says it's time to close now. I guess I'd better go now. I'd really like to stay here all night. Very deep. Um, it's just him wanting to stay there in the chorus. Let me sleep all night in your soul kitchen. And so it has a nice soul and bluesy rock sound to it, which I find funny given that it's about a soul food restaurant. So it's like, let's
Yeah.
truly play on this. The guitarist of the band, Robbie Krieger, said that James Brown had an influence on him for the song. And if you listen to the guitar riff going through the song, they were trying to simulate what a horn section might sound like from a James Brown, a traditional soul song. It's also a nice, little fun, upbeat song. So it was nice to listen to. The My favorite song off this one is Light My Fire. Again, as you mentioned, one of the longer ones. This one's just over 7 minutes. But we talked about last week with Prince and some of the iconic openings. This one is another iconic opening with the snare shot and then the opening organ. And that opening, 10 seconds or so plays a repeated part through the song. This was that Robbie Krieger, the guitarist, it's his first try at songwriting for the band. And, lo and behold, he, cranks out one of the biggest hits of the Doors. And so that's gotta feel good about that if that's your first song or not, because could only go downhill. But about so it starts with that a verse, and then about a minute 10 seconds into the song, they actually start two separate instrumental solos. So the first one is an organ, a synthesizer organ keyboard that goes about 2 minutes. And then it switches to guitar, goes about another 2 minutes. So it's about a 4 minute instrumental in the middle of the two verses. And then when the guitar solo ends, that's when that same organ iconic intro from the beginning picks back up. Morrison starts singing again to the end of the song, and then you get what seems to be the end, and then that same drum shot, the little 10-second organ again to end the song. So that's pretty neat. There's also a radio edit version which cuts out most of the instrumental part of it. And so, it drastically reduces the time of the song to get it to, again, in the 60s, 70s, back to okay time to play on the radio. Now I think a lot of times when I hear it, it's still the 7 minute version. Also, I like that last lyric. Try to set the night on fire. He's got this raspy high voice. It seems like I said, seems like it's the end of the song, but then you get the pop and it takes off again. So it's a great song. Lots of different things going on with the um, instrumentals, the organ, guitar, drums, but it blends together real nice. Has a nice pleasant sound to it. So that those are my two favorites, Soul Kitchen and Light My Fire. So
Yippee!
um that takes us to, why is this album on our list? Why should people go out and listen to The Doors?
Um, so I have like the technical answer, and that and it's what they wrote about themselves, but I thought it worked well. And it was the first sentence of: "The Doors marked the moment when the American rock underground of the 1960s came crashing into the mainstream." Um, and I think that's a good start. I also think Jim Morrison is such a big name in everything. And to like kind of hear it. I don't know if is the Doors where he started and then he grew to
I don't,
iconicism.
yeah, I don't know for sure. I
I
don't,
just know he's a huge
yeah,
name.
he is a huge name.
So there's that. And then past that, I would say we ended up getting pretty lucky with um, where this album, sorry, popped up on our list. I think it would have been even better if it was a few weeks later because because of things that we've talked about with the lyrics being sometimes a little bit darker, getting that electric synth or not electric, not the electric synth. Organ, is that what you called it?
Yeah, organ, synthesizer.
Synthesizers, whatever. And also, without having like the technology that we do with guitars today, like the guitars are pretty unclean sounding. They're not as like pure. They still have that kind of like grittiness that you often hear in like the 50s and 60s recordings. Um, it leads it to feel very fitting for fall and Halloween season, to me at
Mm.
least. I thought like there's not many Halloween songs that I like that come to mind. Um,
The
and this
the
was just one
the
that,
end is kind of spooky.
yeah. So it just kind of fit really well with the changing of the season, even though I think it's still pretty toasty in Memphis, I'm pretty sure.
It
But
is.
here it's getting to be high 70s, which is cool. And the leaves are changing, and it just kind of set the mood for fall, October season. Um, so I think that was pretty cool.
Nice. And so, the other thing just about the Doors, in general, first American band to accumulate 8 consecutive certified gold LPs. So that's pretty cool. One of the most successful bands during the time they were together. Short amount. Jim Morrison died, and again another artist that's was 27 when he died. So we'll hit a few of those on our list. Already got Cobain and now Jim Morrison. I think those are the only two so far. Out of a sneak peek, I know off the top of my head two more on our list. But the Doors were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in '93. It's specifically to this album now. The album and the song "Light My Fire" both been inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame. In 2015, the Library of Congress added this album into the National Recording Registry. It's one of the best-selling albums, or sorry, it is the band's best-selling album and widely considered one of the best debut albums in by a rock band in rock history. I will selfishly promote another one that we have already discussed, which is 10 by Pearl Jam. And so we've got another one or two I know that I've seen and remember that are coming up as well. So, but again, the album, it infuses blues, soul, jazz, classical R&B, pop, all into the rock version that the Doors really pioneered or known to be pioneers, called this psychedelic rock, is really the genre that most people drop them into. And so, that's a lot of where it started. So that's why you go listen to it. Um, some of the other reasons would be what you hear in people that you hear on the radio today that say, "Hey, I was influenced by the Doors or by Jim Morrison," oftentimes. And so Paul McCartney cited the Doors as an influence on Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, which also released later in '67. And if I'm not mistaken, the Doors album made it to number two. Um, and the album that kept them out of the number one spot was that Sgt. Pepper's album. So that's how good this album was. The only thing that kept them from being number one that year was quite possibly the Beatles' best album, arguably. So, also you've got Lane Staley of Alice in Chains, Eddie Vedder, Pearl Jam, Scott Weiland of Stone Temple Pilots all said Jim Morrison was a huge influence. The lead singer of Sushi and the Banshees, lead singer of The Cult, lead singer of The Strokes, as well as Billy Idol. Again, all say Jim Morrison is, very influential in their music. So, if any of those bands make sense, you like any of those bands, then again, another reason to go and listen to The Doors.
There you go.
Yeah, both the band and the album.
Yeah.
So, anything else there, Riley?
I don't think so. Not that comes to
No.
my mind.
Yeah. And I guess another reason, if you're Apocalypse Now fan, go listen to the entirety of the end, so you can see what the rest of it sounds like. Because obviously, what's in the movie is cut to fit what they wanted for the cinematic effect. But it is quite the interesting and good song. I agree. Um, so that being said, Riley, what's the best bar or lyric from the album for you?
I mean, I would say it kind of goes along with what you said with the end. Just super short, super impactful lyrics. Just like little bits here and there, such as no safety or surprise, the end, I'll never look into your eyes again, desperately in need of a stranger's hand. There's just so many throughout, but just to end with it hurts to set you free, but you'll never follow me. The end of laughter and soft lies, the end of nights we tried to die. This is the end. And then and I mean, that's just like you said, all together pretty simple lyrics, small words. A young person could like understand the words, but just the pain and hurt and just openness in those lyrics, like is very pretty and is a very great way to end that album.
Yeah, and and this was one of, I didn't see exactly what order it was, but read somewhere where it was one of the last shows that they played in their last concert. And so, I think their last concert was in New Orleans. And Jim Morrison had some type of episode on stage. And he's worthwhile to go and read about him and some of the things that he did. I've heard a story where he was on an airplane, caused such a ruckus where they were waiting for him when the plane landed to arrest him, and somebody was traveling with. And so, like, this was late '60s, early '70s, where, you know, you could get on an airplane with just a ticket and you could smoke,
Mhm.
and like it wasn't anything like plane traveling now. And so I can just imagine what he had to go through, or what he did, or his partner, whoever was with him, did to have like police waiting for you when you get off an airplane.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my goodness. For me, the best beat, in short version, is the opening 10 seconds of Light My Fire. And so, the snare pop and then the organ. But since you're there, listen to all 7 minutes. Um, if you don't want to listen to all 7 minutes, um, do like this is makes sense why I'm recommending this and not Riley. Skip the lyrics. go from the opening, go from the opening 10 seconds, go to the instrumental in the middle, hear the build up when the guitar and organ come back together to a crescendo, where then all of a sudden you hear that organ kick back in for the lyrics. Then go to the very end of the lyrics, hear the Jim Morrison raspiness of that last line, and then listen to the snare pop and the organ. It's like the song comes to a full circle from beginning to end, and it's really well done. I really like that song. So that's my best beat, although it's extended to all the instrumental portions of a song.
There you go.
Um, yeah, so all that being said, let's get into ratings. Riley, would you rate this album?
I did not like it. Dun dun dun. I'm giving it I'm giving it a 4 purely because of the end. Like that was its redeeming quality to me. I did not
Wow.
like it. I know. I was expecting to really like it, which may have impacted why I didn't like it
Hmm.
so much because
I
I
could
was
see
going
that.
into it looking forward to it. I know they have those two pretty popular songs. I had never heard them. I don't remember ever hearing of them talked about, which you said was like your failure as a father to
Yeah.
me. But we failed even harder now. I don't even like it.
Yeah.
Um, no, I just you talking about them kind of being known for being founders or forerunners in psychedelic rock makes sense as to why I don't like it. I'm not a big psychedelic rock person. Um, just a lot of it, and I don't have a great reason, which is unfortunate. Most of my reason is I just didn't love how it sounded for most
Yeah.
of it. Um, I just didn't really like how it sounded.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to all the Doors album and band fans out there. But my personal rating was a 4, but my objective rating jumps back up to an 8.5. I think they have a few weak songs and a few weak parts, even in strong songs. And that kind of breaks it down. But I mean, learning more about them and the influence they've had, the Doors themselves probably deserve a higher rating than that. But this album in particular, I think just had a few weak points in there that we talked about, that could have been stronger to me.
All right. So a four and a what?
8.5.
8.5. All right, perfect. So my personal rating was an 8.5, which is better than your four. Um, so I like the Doors. And as I was going through this, there was maybe one or two that I hadn't heard before. So I knew all of these, even if I didn't realize it was on this album. Like, a song started playing, I was like, oh yeah, didn't know that one was on this album. And so I enjoyed the Doors, enjoyed this album. My objective was a 9, just because of again, the what the Doors became in such a short time frame, and this album being still listed as one of their better albums. you know, it's got to have a good rating to it. And plus you hear a lot of the other artists at the time, their contemporaries, plus people that you hear of now, talk about the Doors and Jim Morrison. You know, they've done a lot for the musical world, it's especially the rock side of things. So 8.5 and 9 for me on my end. Um, so those are the ratings. What's next? Song of the week. You're laughing.
Sitting, I've been sitting,
Huh?
I've been sitting here playing with my mouth this whole time. Okay.
Oh, you're
Go,
just
go watch the video.
yeah,
I was
you're just
listening, but
realizing.
I was like pulling down my lip and like making weird faces, like just fidgeting.
Yeah,
I'm a fidgeter,
this
guys. I'm a fidgeter. It's
this will be fun.
unfortunate. It's so unfortunate. That was really embarrassing to re Whoops.
Oops.
Anyway, yes, it's on to songs of the week.
Yes, on the songs of the week.
Um,
Riley, what's your song of the
so
week?
my songs of the week.
Uh-oh.
Um, so it relates to the end. I kind of mentioned it. It seems as if somewhere in there a murder occurs. Because, well, it says the bad man comes in, he takes something, and then he says to his dad, "I want to kill you, Dad." Um, so it seems as if that's kind of where it's going. Um, which made me think of an artist that I very much love, Jack Van Cleef. He has a song called Rattlesnake with Zach. He has a recording with Zach Bryan, I think. So there's that. But he has an EP that was released on Halloween in 2022 called Music City Murder Ballad. Um, and it's three songs that are surrounding a murder in Nashville, hence Music City. It's the case of Bucky Breyer, which is from the perspective of a murderer, a murder out of rage. The Primrose Chopper, which follows the story in case of a serial killer. And then Victory's Brother, which is from the perspective of a cop who has been on a case for a really long time. Victory's Brother is probably my favorite one. It's a long song too. It's about 11 minutes long. Um, and it just kind of follows this cop's, like from the very beginning of the murder to being destroyed to where he can't even be a cop anymore. And then when he's just a citizen, he finds the guy who was the murderer, um, and like just has to act on it, and then in the end he ends up being the villain depending on how you view things. um and I've made you listen to these songs before. I
Yeah,
know I have.
yeah,
uh I just think talking about something so delicate and writing a story around it is a very difficult thing to do in music because you don't have much time to form that connection. Like in shows, typically you can
right.
form that connection. Um, and Victory's Brother is long, but the other two are very short, and it takes a lot of talent to form that connection super quickly to where like it's not just like this person sucks, they're killing people. It's more like, wait, they have a story. And he does that beautifully.
Yeah,
Lyrically, it's amazing. Musically, they all fit individually in their little genres. They all sound different but similar. And it's just a really fun EP to listen to around Halloween and this type of season. I actually got to see Jack Van Cleef in concert maybe last year around this time, and he played two of the three songs because it was nearing Halloween. Unfortunately, he is had a short set, so he wasn't able to play Victory's Brother. But I got to talk to him afterwards, and he was super nice. And I was like, "Victory's Brother is like my favorite song of yours, and you're not playing like you can't play it because he was just opening that time." And he jokingly told me that the next time he was in Knoxville, he would have a basement concert of just Victory's Brother just for me. So, super nice guy, super great music, and just beautiful, beautiful songs.
all right. Well, good. Mine is a little less on the beautiful side. It is back to more of my roots and what I like. So 1993 The song is called Greasebox. It's by a group named Tad, Tad, um, which, with Todd, I often get mistaken. I don't know if I've ever been mistaken for Tad now that I'm randomly having this squirrel moment. I don't
Sure
think I've
you
ever had
have.
Tad. So interesting. 1993, the album is called Inhaler. They're from Seattle, same time frame as, Pearl Jam, Nirvana, and Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, all those
Telling you,
others.
something's in that water.
Yeah. But for this one, what I really like is I really like the opening bass line. But and you know the rest of the song as well. Album's all right. If you need to know why I like it, go listen to the Pearl Jam and Nirvana episodes. They're out there. And the other one that's neat about this one is that they are a little bit um, harder musically and than Pearl Jam and Nirvana from the rock side of things. Nirvana's pretty hard, but their bass is more punk sounding. Tad's a little bit harder. Pearl Jam's more classic rock as well, but Tad's a little bit harder than Pearl Jam. So if you like that, go give Greasebox by Tad a listen off the Inhaler album. So that's all I got. I guess we're ready
Well, we
for
have
our
to tell them
next
the
album, right?
album. Yeah. So our next album, I am excited for, but I know I can be excited for it, I think.
Uh-oh.
Is Doolittle by the Pixies.
Oh yeah.
Woo!
Which has already had a mention somewhere in one of these episodes.
Nirvana.
Nirvana,
Nirvana and Prince. Because I was talking about the Loud Soft
Prince.
Cloud.
Yeah, but I even had a song of the week off this album too. In
Oh,
one of our
that might have
first
been.
ones.
Wow, shout out Pixies.
So
Here comes my you were singing
yeah,
the Here
here
Comes My Girl.
yeah. No.
Yeah.
Here comes your man.
Here comes your man. Here comes my girl was a very different song.
So yeah, but this
Well,
is a good album.
shout out the Pixies.
Yeah,
So I guess listen along with us to
yeah.
the
Oh,
Pixies.
yes. So again, I'm pointing at you and everybody else now. So you got Instagram, X.
Were you waiting for me to say it? Or
I'm just trying to, my old brain is trying to think. Facebook
Spotify,
and
Facebook.
Spotify. Yeah, we got a playlist on Spotify. And now YouTube. So
Woo!
we'll have those links in the added into the show notes. And get
Me
the
embarrass myself when I
yeah
forget that I'm being
yeah,
recorded.
you can go see her. You can see her Wi-Fi cut out. And then me awkwardly staring at the screen while I'm trying to figure it out. So like, yeah, you'll be able to tell that this is the first video, and hopefully, hopefully it gets better. Um, so that being said, until next time, I'm Todd.
I'm Riley, and this is another episode of Barber Cats.